This is probably the question I get asked the most. People are always surprised and ask, "You've been single for so long. Don't you ever feel the need for a man? How do you deal with your physical and emotional needs?" To be honest, questions like these don't surprise me anymore. One day, one of my friends asked me the exact same thing. He said, "You don't even have a boyfriend. So how do you handle all of that?" I simply smiled and replied, "Honestly, I've never felt that my life depends on those things." Later, some people even joked that once a woman reaches a certain age, she must need someone by her side. But I've never looked at life that way. Everyone has different needs and a different way of living, and I'm happy living my life in my own way. People ask me the same question all the time: how do you deal with your physical needs when you've been single for so long? My answer is always simple. However I choose to live my life, I don't need someone else to solve that for me. I've been single for almost 2 years now, and even some of my close friends keep telling me, "You should find a boyfriend. You need a man in your life." But honestly, I don't feel that way. Just because someone is single doesn't mean they're unhappy or incomplete. Everyone experiences life differently, and I've learned to enjoy my own company instead of depending on someone else to make me feel complete. I'm 33 years old, and I'm still single with no children. Honestly, I don't really know what the disadvantages of marriage are. But people often remind me about the downsides of staying unmarried. They say that growing old alone isn't easy, and when difficult times come, having a family beside you can make all the difference. Maybe that's why so many people still encourage marriage. I'm 33 years old, still unmarried, and I don't have any children. Sometimes I ask myself whether staying single is really the right choice. People often tell me that marriage isn't perfect, but remaining unmarried also comes with its own challenges. They say that as you grow older, loneliness becomes harder to ignore. If you ever become seriously ill, you may not have someone by your side. That's why many people believe that, if you meet the right person, getting married is still worth considering. Of course, everyone has their own path in life, but these are the thoughts that often cross my mind. I'm 28 years old, and every day after work I come back to a quiet, empty apartment. There's no one waiting for me, no one to talk to, and no one to share dinner with. Sometimes I buy groceries, but they end up going bad because I'm living alone. At night, the silence feels even heavier, so I keep a pet rabbit to keep me company. That's when I realize that having a house isn't enough sometimes, you just wish you had someone to come home to. Has money become more important than love in today's marriages? A man recently shared a strong opinion about the modern marriage market. He believes that financial pressure is changing the way people choose their partners. According to him, as economic problems continue to grow, more people are entering relationships with financial concerns instead of genuine feelings. He also said that trust between men and women isn't as strong as it used to be. Because of that, many men have become much more careful before getting married. In his view, love alone is no longer enough. Before making such an important decision, people should also understand each other's financial situation and responsibilities. Of course, this is only his personal opinion, and many people completely disagree with it. Still, his comments have started a huge debate online, with people sharing very different views about love, marriage, and money. Should age decide your future relationship? One man shared a very controversial opinion. He believes that some people ignore important warning signs when choosing a partner. According to him, before starting a serious relationship, it's better to understand the other person's mindset, values, and responsibilities instead of judging only by emotions. His comments quickly sparked debate, with many people agreeing while others strongly disagreed. I'm 35 years old, still unmarried, and sometimes the loneliness is hard to ignore. No matter how independent someone is, deep inside, everyone hopes to have love and a family one day. Can waiting too long become your biggest regret? I'm 36 years old, still single, with a good job, a house, and savings. But deep inside, I still hope to find the right person and have a family one day. What if you've been seeing yourself completely differently from everyone else? For years, I believed I looked much younger than my actual age. I'm 35, but people around me always told me I looked like I was in my late 20s. So I never really questioned it. But one day, I went to pick up my cousin from the train station, and something unexpected happened. Her friend didn't know whether to call me sister or aunt. She kept hesitating because she wasn't sure. That small moment completely changed the way I saw myself. It made me realize that sometimes the image we have of ourselves is very different from how other people see us, and honestly, that realization was a little heartbreaking. What if one day you wake up and realize you've been alone for far too long? I'm 42 years old, and I've never been married or had children. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I never worried about getting older. I always believed there was plenty of time and that the right person would eventually come into my life. But as the years passed, I slowly started feeling more lonely and more anxious. Now I sometimes ask myself, if I get sick one day, who will be there to take care of me? It's not only the fear of being alone that worries me anymore, it's the thought of facing life's hardest moments without someone by my side. Those questions have become more real than ever, and they stay in my mind more often than I'd like to admit. Can money decide whether a relationship survives? During a blind date, a 34-year-old unmarried man refused to marry a divorced woman with a child after she asked for a bride price of 100,000 yuan. He believed it wasn't a fair decision for him, while others felt his words were too harsh. The story quickly sparked debate, with people sharing very different opinions about marriage and financial expectations. A 35-year-old woman shared that she always believed she looked much younger than her age because that's what people around her kept saying. But one unexpected moment changed everything. When she met her cousin's friend, the girl hesitated, unsure whether to call her sister or aunt. That simple moment made her realize that sometimes we see ourselves very differently from how others see us. Can age alone tell you who someone really is? The man continued by saying that many people judge relationships only by feelings, while ignoring compatibility and shared values. In his opinion, choosing a life partner should be based on honesty, maturity, and responsibility, not just emotions. His words divided opinions, but they certainly made many people stop and think. Can money really be more valuable than marriage? A 34-year-old unmarried man recently shared a story from a blind date. The woman he met was 31 years old, divorced, and had a child. She asked for a bride price of 100,000 yuan. After hearing that, the man refused the proposal. He believed it wasn't the right decision for him and said he would rather spend that money on something else than enter a marriage he wasn't comfortable with. His statement quickly spread online, and people were divided. Some supported his decision, while others felt he was being too harsh. I was born in 1989, and now I'm 36 years old. I have a stable job, my own home, some savings, and hobbies that keep me busy. But after coming home every day, I sometimes feel that something is still missing. I've spent years waiting for the right person instead of rushing into marriage. Now, as I'm getting closer to 40, I find myself wondering if I waited too long, because deep inside, I still dream of having a family one day. Can fear of the future change the way you see marriage? The woman continued by saying that when she was in her 20s and 30s, she never imagined worrying about growing old alone. She always believed there was still plenty of time. But with every passing year, the fear of loneliness became stronger. Now she often thinks about the future and wonders who will be there to support her during life's most difficult moments. Those questions have become impossible for her to ignore. Is growing older alone becoming a real fear for many people? A 42-year-old woman shared that when she was younger, she never worried about being single. She always believed the right person would come at the right time. But as the years passed, loneliness slowly turned into anxiety. Now she sometimes wonders who would stand by her if she ever became seriously ill or needed support. Those thoughts have made her look at life very differently. Is age really the biggest factor in a relationship? The man ended by saying that choosing a life partner should never be based on age alone. In his opinion, understanding a person's character and values is far more important before making such a big decision. Can one opinion change the way people think about relationships? Another man shared a controversial view about older single women. He believed that age alone doesn't tell the whole story and argued that people should take time to understand someone's personality, values, and expectations before entering a serious relationship. His opinion quickly divided viewers, with some agreeing and many others strongly disagreeing. She achieved everything in life, but one thing was still missing. At the age of 36, this woman had built a stable life for herself. She had a good job, her own house, savings, and hobbies that kept her busy. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. But behind this independent life, there was a feeling she couldn't ignore. She had been living alone for more than 10 years, always believing that one day the right person would enter her life. She didn't want to rush into marriage just because of society's expectations. She wanted a partner who truly understood her and someone she could build a family with. Years passed while she waited. She achieved many of her goals, bought a car, bought a house, and created a comfortable life for herself. But now, as she gets closer to 40, she has started feeling anxious about the future. She wants to experience the happiness of having a child and a loving family, but she doesn't want to make the wrong choice by marrying someone without real feelings. Her story shows that sometimes a person can have success, independence, and comfort, yet still hope for someone special to share life's journey with. The discussion ended with a simple message. Whether you decide to get married or stay single, every choice comes with its own challenges. The most important thing is to make a decision that truly matches your values, goals, and the life you want to build, rather than living only to satisfy other people's expectations. Is loneliness the hardest part of being single? I'm 35 years old, still unmarried, and sometimes the loneliness is hard to ignore. No matter how independent someone is, deep inside, everyone hopes to have love and a family one day. Sometimes the biggest surprise comes when you see yourself through someone else's eyes. A 35-year-old woman always believed that she looked much younger than her actual age. People around her often told her that she looked like she was in her late 20s, so she never doubted it. But one small moment changed her thinking. When she met her cousin's friend, the girl hesitated because she didn't know whether to call her sister or aunt. That moment made her realize that sometimes our own image of ourselves can be very different from how others see us. Can a person's past become the biggest issue in a relationship? A man shared his opinion about marriage after a blind date. He said that before making such a big decision, people should think carefully about their future, responsibilities, and expectations. He explained that relationships are not only about feelings, but also about understanding each other's situations. His words created a debate, with some people supporting his point while others believed his thinking was too harsh.